It's been 27 years. 27 years! What's up, guys? This is Forsaken Memories 45, shorthand Forsaken M, and I wanted to go ahead and, after all this time, and after a bit of a vacancy of content, finally do what I've wanted to do since last month, and that's to talk about the modern-day gaming elephant in the room, as it were. And no, I don't mean that one. Of course, I'm referring to Super Mario RPG Remake, having that reveal being revealed at the June 21st Nintendo Direct, and oh man, was that something else. But rather than talking about the trailer right now, I want to do something a little bit more heavily dedicated for that. Right now, I just kind of want to talk about two topics, or rather, I want to talk to two groups of people. And that first group I want to talk to is people who have either not played Super Mario RPG, the original, and may have either played no Mario RPGs or just played Paper Mario or Mario and Luigi, but never the original Super Mario RPG, or those who have only just played it recently, like in the last couple years or so, and maybe they aren't as in the know of why this is such a big deal that this game is getting a remake. I know there's probably multiple handfuls of people out there who were on the internet during that week and were wondering, what is going on? Why are there all these people who are just breaking down, gasping for air, crying, screaming over a Mario RPG? Like, what the heck is going on? And for you guys, I just wanted to talk a little bit about why this is so important. There have been a couple of other videos out there that have covered this topic, but I'll go ahead and give my take anyway. There might be some similarities with stuff you've already heard, but maybe I can shed a little bit of extra light on the situation. Essentially, the reason that this is so big, you have to consider the fact that a lot of the fans who played this game, not all of them, but a good share of them, played the game when it originally came out, and that would be in 1996. In Japan, it was in March. It would not reach North American US shores until May. And man, it was one heck of a release. A lot of people don't really know or don't really talk about this, but Square Enix was actually Squaresoft at the time. They hadn't merged with Enix. They were in a little bit of an overseas pickle, as it were. They were making still some of the most iconic RPGs out there during this time. I mean, we've got all the Final Fantasies that released between the NES and the Super Nintendo. We had, Chrono Trigger. They were Mastercraft even back then when it came to RPGs. Unfortunately, they were going through something strange then, which was that they weren't really popular in North America, US, at the time. Their RPGs weren't doing as well in sales as they would have liked. Originally, the thought process was that maybe they were too difficult. American gamers just didn't understand how to play RPGs, so maybe we need to change things, dumb things down a little bit to be a little bit more introductory, and that's kind of true, but it wasn't exactly true. Their first attempt at that was Final Fantasy Mystic Quest, and it came out and it was not received well at all. In fact, we kind of criticized it heavily here in the States, and that just threw Squaresoft for a loop, on just another loop entirely. At that point, they had the assumption that, maybe North American US gamers just don't like RPGs. We thought they didn't understand them. Apparently they do, and they just don't like them. Maybe we should stop putting money and effort and resources into localization then, and just make them for Japan, maybe Europe. Maybe we should cut out US. It's basically where they were at the time. And that's not really their fault that RPGs weren't doing so well. They were great games, and people in the US did play them and did enjoy them. The problem was that at the time, the biggest, the audience of gamers in the US were kids at that time. Like I was super young then, a lot of other gamers were super young, but the nuance and, like, being dialogue story heavy doesn't really appeal in the way that they were being, they could be delivered at that time, with dialogue boxes, lots of reading, whatnot. A lot of kids, you know, the attention span isn't there. So, you know, majority of gamers were just too young. But, you know, adults who did game at the time, or like preteen young adults in the teenage area who were gaming at the time, often did appreciate those games when they released. It's just unfortunate timing, really, is what it was. And I think Miyamoto gave them, Square a blessing with that, to make them realize that, because what was big at the time? Mario! Like, Pokemon would have its chance later on, don't get me wrong. 98 would hit and Pokemon would take over, but before then, Mario was dominant. He was Mr. and he's still called Mr. Video Games for a reason. He was everywhere, every kid loved him. It was Mario Mania back then, right? And so, what better way to reach an audience that you're seemingly struggling with right now than to, you know, make something with Mario? Well, that means that you would have to work with Nintendo. And it actually did happen. Miyamoto went ahead, and other execs with Nintendo worked together with Squaresoft and basically said, hey, we are trying to do different things with Mario. We've done a bunch of platformers, we've we've done different art styles, we've added different things. We just did Mario Teaches Typing. Charles Martinet did his first voice acting work for a typing game. We are trying to innovate on Mario. Even this early in the Super Nintendo area, we're trying to do something different. So, you guys are the best at making RPGs. How about we work together and make something? And that is how Super Mario RPG was created. If you actually go over the history, there's a lot of interesting stuff on like how the gameplay changed over time. There was a lot of Dragon Quest-esque influence, or like basically the idea that RPG hero has to be designed a certain way, rides a horse, wields a sword, and Miyamoto and Nintendo would push back a lot on that, which is why Mario fights with shells, his fist's a hammer, he shoots fireballs. Like, there was actually watching the process of that is really interesting when you go back. But it was like kind of a legendary thing. But the reason I said it was only partially true, that it was the nuances and like the difficulty and the mechanics of RPGs that didn't appeal, is because when Super Mario RPG released, it was just a kind of dumbed down in certain features that other RPGs already had at the time, and it was easier difficulty. Grinding wasn't as much required. You know, battles were technically optional if you can avoid encountering enemies in the overworld. A lot of stuff that makes things, makes the game a lot easier to make it introductory. And that was done on purpose because Mario is the main character. It's a Mario RPG. We're trying to appeal to that audience we couldn't appeal to before. And boy howdy, did it work. First off, in Japan, they were already doing well, but I think it sold over 2 million. I'll put the stats up in editing exactly what it is, but it did really well in Japan. If I remember correctly, and maybe the stats I'll find will prove me wrong, that would be awesome. But if I remember correctly, we didn't really get an exact number for sales that it did in the US. Unfortunately, it never came to Europe back then. My European Geno bros, Super Mario RPG bros, I'm so sorry about that. You've had to wait for so long, but we're here. November's not that long from now. But we don't really have official numbers for just how it did on the Super Nintendo. They're kind of combined with virtual console sales from Wii and Wii U, as well as the SNES Classic. They're kind of all jumbled together now when you try to find the actual numbers. But I do remember them saying that it actually exceeded their expectations in sales in the US, like very much so. Also, it is documented that I believe it was 14 weeks straight that it was the most rented video game of all time. Yes, I know. Renting video games? Oh man, you're ancient. Yeah, no, I get it. It was a different era. I know. Let's move on. But essentially, it was very well received. It was a masterpiece. And it was because it was crafted with characters that were more well-known and well-liked. Mario, Bowser, Princess Peach, she was Toadstool at the time. But it appealed to the younger audience at that time and got a lot of people who would have never been interested in RPGs to play Mario RPG as their first. A couple years before Pokemon would even come out. They were already in the works to make a sequel. Unfortunately, a bunch of really negative things happened, which is one of the reasons why, which is actually the whole backing behind why this remake existing is such a big deal. So let's get into that now. Even with the game doing so well, Sony around this time was proposing to Nintendo to make a console that uses compact disc CDs technology because it could just hold so much more and you could make more impressive games. And Nintendo basically said, no, we're not doing that. We've already made the N64. It's coming around the corner. It's going to be cartridges. We're going to do it. We know better. We are Mr. Video Games, the company. And we have no contest at this point in time. We know better. And Square kind of peeked their heads in and said, hey, Nintendo, listen, we want to make really great games. This is a way for us to make even better games, of how we've always wanted to really make them. Please do this so we can keep working with you. And Nintendo said no. And Square and Nintendo fell off from there. And then Square said, first of all, Sony said, you know what, if you're not going to do it, we're going to do it. Let's make our own console that's compact disc. And then that's where the PlayStation 1 comes from, right? And then Square essentially said, you know what? Fine. We're not going to make stuff with Nintendo anymore. We're going to do exclusively with Sony. And they basically dropped Final Fantasy VII right after that, one of the biggest banger games of all time. And they didn't look back for a very long time. We would still get ports occasionally, much later. That relationship to actually come together and make something super unique together was lost. And seemingly, we thought it would be lost to time forever. Now, Super Mario RPG 2 was actually in the works. I'll see if I can find it, but there is evidence before it was called Paper Mario, it was being called Super Mario RPG 2, and it was going to be on the N64. So, Super Mario RPG probably could have done better in sales, but unfortunately it released in the same year that the 64 would then come out in September and essentially cannibalize what possible sales left that there were, because now everyone's jumping to the new console with the actual 3D Super Mario 64, and that just kind of blew everyone else away and kind of mostly forgot about the Super Nintendo by that point. So that didn't help Super Mario RPG or its sales. The falling out between the two companies didn't help. And then, because of that falling out, it gets this weird split. And I might have this a little bit wrong, but as far as I understand, Nintendo actually owns, the title of a Mario RPG or a Super Mario RPG. They own the name, the franchise, trademark, logo, whatever. And obviously they also own, all the traditional Mario characters that existed before Super Mario RPG. Princess Peach, Bowser, the Toads, Mario, Luigi, Yoshi, all the ones you come to know and love. But they don't own any of the original characters Square made for Super Mario RPG. They don't own Geno, Mallow, Croco. And this goes so as far as there's the Chancellor Toad, which is kind of like the ancestor of Toadsworth, which we don't really see him anymore either. I don't know what's up with that, Nintendo, but basically, any character that, even if they were a Toad, or a version of a Piranha Plant, for example, or a version of a Shy Guy, if they created something that didn't already exist, and it had its own unique name, Square owns that. So, Nintendo can't make a Mario RPG that's going to have all those original characters that everyone fell in love with because they don't own them. So instead, they go with Paper Mario and they do a different take on it. There's a lot of signs with lore elements and things that kind of show that there was supposed to be a greater connection, and it was probably going to be originally the same world as the original Super Mario RPG. But Square can't go ahead and make a Mario RPG because they don't own the rights to, and they don't own the rights to Mario characters. So the best that they would be able to do is use only the 100% original characters they made for Super Mario RPG and do something with them, because even using the ones that have likeness, like the Piranha Plant-esque characters or the Toad-esque characters who are technically original that they would own, that's murky water that could get them in trouble. Also, the other issue is, if you try to make a new Mario RPG with these characters and it doesn't have the traditional Mario characters in it, that loses a level of charm. Who knows if it would even be received as well, and what would you even make it? I mean, you can't have the Mushroom Kingdom anymore. Like, there's so many missing elements that neither one of them by themselves can really recreate that magic. Yes, so anyone who loves Paper Mario, as I was getting to that, and the Mario and Luigi games, both of those series exist because of the groundwork that Super Mario RPG originally set. Which is, that's great. Like, that's why we've had these great games. Unfortunately, those have also fallen apart in recent years, according to majority fan opinion, where Paper Mario has become less and less of an RPG and has lost, like, the original characters that people really loved. That sounds very similar to what I was just saying. And then Mario and Luigi, I guess some of the games just became, there wasn't enough going on. They became stale for a lot of people, I don't know. I'm guilty of not playing Mario and Luigi games, and I've only played the first Paper Mario, of which I want to remedy that really soon. And then it must have been bad enough because Alpha Dream, the company behind Mario and Luigi, they're gone. Gone. Don't know where those people went. Hopefully they're doing well. Back to that. As you go back to the original Mario RPG. Sorry, I'm bouncing around a little bit. Forgive me. Basically, now that the two companies have fallen apart, we always hoped that they would be able to remedy that and get that back together and make more Mario RPGs because it was such a beloved thing. Instead, we got Paper Mario, and the first two are received really, really well, and then the third one, Super Paper Mario, it's still okay, still pretty good, still well loved, even though it's got much less RPG elements to it. And then from there falls apart, right? And then Mario and Luigi, like the first couple, received really well, falls apart. So it almost seems like Mario RPGs are doomed, and the only RPGs that Nintendo are ever going to be able to really rely and hold upon are Pokemon, Fire Emblem, which is more of within the last 5 years or so that it's seen a big recent surge in success outside of Japan, and then Xenoblade, even more recently with Xenoblade Chronicles doing extremely well. Seems like that would be all you would get. You can't get an RPG that has that kind of Nintendo charm with Mario characters or any other original IPs. You're just stuck to those three. Super Mario RPG fans have really shown their love and dedication for wanting the game to be brought back. Ever since the original drop. I've actually, someone to get a hold of to know a little bit more about that is Super Mallow. He is, he's got the receipts, man, for that legacy of the fandom trying to bring the game back. So try and wrap this up now. That's why this is such a big deal that this remake is happening, for those of you who may not know before. It's like a whole its own franchise that was slowly fading away. Even when we had spiritual successors, even those were starting to fade away and die. And that it is this incredible moment of Nintendo history where for the first time Mario and the world are really expanded upon. We get to see all this is what the world looks like. Here's all these original characters. Bowser teams up with Mario for the first time, well before Bowser's Inside Story. Peach gets to actually help out instead of being a damsel of distress, and she's actually super useful. It's also one of the first times it establishes that Peach has innate magical ability. She is the white mage of the game. She's actually this strong, talented character. And we get multiple things pulled from that. Ever since Peach was in Melee, her using a parasol, her using the frying pan, and her slap attacks, all of that stuff is from Super Mario RPG. That's where it originated from first. It's also rumored to be the first game to have timed hits, like an action command where you actually press buttons, timing during combat to get additional effects. As far as we know, it's the first to do that. But yeah, summary, if you want to TLDR skip all of that ranting and stuff, basically, you skip to this point. The reason it's such a big deal, Super Mario RPG getting a remake means that Square and Nintendo are working together enough, even if they're outsourcing the game being made, for all of these characters to come together back again for the first time in 27 freaking years, when it was thought to be impossible. And it's showing respect and homage to the foundation of Mario RPGs, while also giving the possibility of creating something that was thought to be impossible. This now gives credence to the idea that we might get more Mario RPGs, either more Paper Marios back to their truer form that fans want, maybe Mario and Luigi will be able to be brought back, maybe we'll just get sequels to Super Mario RPG and we'll be able to like re-experience that world and have more added to it. But basically, faith in Mario RPGs just existing in general has been restored massively because of this. And as long as this game does really well, which it will, but like still, I encourage you to go ahead and purchase it if you haven't played it before. As long as this game does well, there's a future for Mario RPGs, and it won't just be Xenoblade Chronicles, Pokemon, Fire Emblem. We'll be able to add something else to the mix. Alright, new day, new Mario RPG shirt, same autistic Mario RPG fan, coming at you with the same video. Let's go ahead and get done with it while I still have light here. So now that I've addressed the, for newer fans who might be less familiar with stuff, now I want to, for the second part of this video, I want to address people like myself and others who are upwards of, you know, the 27-year wait period, people who have played the game since it originally came out, been waiting this whole time, or maybe you originally got it on Wii or Wii U Virtual Console, you know, maybe you got it on the SNES Classic. SNES Classic's been out for a while, so you've been waiting for a couple years. But I don't want this to be seen as any sort of gatekeeping, but the longer that you have been waiting for Super Mario RPG to get literally anything, the more this kind of is for you, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. And that it's just kind of what I want to talk about is what we should look forward to and what I feel like we should be doing now that we know something's finally coming. What to do during the time while we're waiting. A lot of us know, I talked about it briefly, we got a lot of hate over the years, and it kind of like really ramped up during Ultimate speculation. And once Ultimate was done, / when Sephiroth was revealed, a good number of fans of Super Mario RPG did not take it very well, right? But I just wanted to address for those who have been waiting for a very long time and you're now going around and you're seeing people who are being hateful, because I've seen a reaction or two where people were complaining about the remake because that means that Geno fans are happy, or that they're going to talk about him being in the next Smash game, they don't want to have to listen to them again. I've seen a couple of different social media posts talking about how annoying Geno fans are going to be, and I even saw one that was literally just saying that when Geno or Super Mario RPG fans are happy, that makes them unhappy. And if you see those things, guys, Geno Bros, do not let that bother you. Do not let that get to your core, okay? Some people are only happy when others are miserable, and it's unfortunate. Sometimes those people have like a path that led them down that way, and some people are just kind of generally awful. Do not let that energy mix with yours and bring you down. We have won. It has taken us so long. We are allowed to enjoy this massive capital W that we have earned, that we worked for through our support. Because if we didn't do anything, Nintendo would have just, and Square would have just let it slide. They never would have even bothered. But it's because we kept being noisy for so long that they finally got together, to some extent, for the remake. Just like the game, we've got the lazy shell armor on, okay? Barely anything can touch us. Slap on a safety badge, ghost badge, like whatever, right? We're good. None of that stuff can bother us. Don't let it bother you. Don't let it bring you down. The second part of that is there are going to be a lot of people, I've already kind of seen it a little bit, where they were like super hating on Geno fans wanting him in the Smash, super hating on saying to just give up on our dreams, on our hopes, about anything about the game. And now that the remake has come out, a lot of those same people are flipping the script and you know, they're celebrating, saying that they always knew it was going to happen, that they were always rooting for it. I've seen a lot less of those than the people who are just still outright kind of being hateful. But they do exist. They are out there. And just don't let that energy bother you either. Just for both of these things, recognize that they exist, acknowledge it, right, but don't let it bother you, because at the end of the day, they are in a position where they might be, this is going to sound a little bit mean, but they are suffering from someone else's success and happiness, and rather than putting that energy into something else to make things better for them, they would rather try to bring the people who are happy down. In one way or another, don't let them do that, okay? Just don't let them do that. Now that we got that out of the way, what should we be doing during this wait? I think the big one is, even though the remake is happening, I don't think we should stop expressing our love and our desire for Geno, Mallow, and, you know, like a sequel, for these characters to get into other games, basically for Super Mario RPG characters to become a little bit more mainstream. I don't think we should stop pushing for that, even though we've gotten something. Even though we haven't played the remake, sure, it could come out and be awful, but let's be honest with ourselves, it's gonna be minimum an 8 out of 10, right? Like, let's just be honest. Nintendo and Square, if they were gonna do this in any capacity, they're gonna make sure that it doesn't get screwed up massively, right? So, while we're waiting, we still need to make sure that Nintendo and Square understand that we are very appreciative of this, but we still want more. The best way to do that is to keep doing what we have been doing, especially what's already started again since the remake, which is just spreading the word. Obviously, one of the best places to do that is on social media, because it's actually people's job at Nintendo and Square to, like, peruse the internet and you know, check certain social media and see what people are talking about. So since it's someone's job to do that, which is, you know, why game companies have an idea of what people want in the first place, is, you know, paying attention, having somebody that it's their job to give them that information. It's also their job to look around and see what people are excited about, and having a constant stream of being so excited, even on smaller channels. Like when somebody, like, let's use Twitter for an example. Ugh, I know Twitter, but let's just use it as an example. If somebody makes, like, a post about being excited about Super Mario RPG Remake, and, you know, it gets, like, you know, 500 retweets, maybe even 200, 250. I don't know what would be considered big enough to get a Nintendo's attention. I assume that they're supposed to look through every nook and cranny to find just about anything, but let's just say it's like 250, 500 retweets, and, you know, a whole bunch of people go into the comments talking about how excited they are, even if they aren't as big on Twitter as maybe the original poster is. That's still someone's job, where they find the original post and look at the replies and see how many individual people are excited. So talking about your excitement on social media is actually huge, but also just in general with your friends, word of mouth, spread it around. It's a huge deal, right? And so that's important. We can take that a little bit further, and a lot of people do. There are people who have specific talents. And one of them is art. And let me tell you, I've seen so much art of Gino, Mallow, and, you know, the whole party, unique characters from Super Mario RPG. I've seen it both before now, but I've seen a lot of it now, and that's a good thing. All I'm doing is saying it's encouragement for you to keep doing that. There's a reason I made a meme about encouraging artists who feel like they can't stop making Super Mario RPG art to just keep going until they can't anymore. There's a reason for that. It's a huge thing. It not only is beneficial for those talented people to create something about what they love, but once again, it shares into the whole thing of sharing that on our social media. Nintendo sees that, Square sees that, they see the excitement. Like I said, it's all a good thing. Another thing that we should be doing for just general content creation, you know, there's people that are making music. In fact, if I remember correctly, Starhaven, and you know, I'm bad at remembering details, so I'll probably just link the video in the description. But they're if I remember correctly, it's like calling all artists, and possibly like people who are talented with being able to craft music are also being called in. Like I said, you can watch the video that I'll link to for, you know, better details on that. I'm a little bit shaky on those details, but creating art, creating music, animations are also art, but you know, just like not still art, like actual animations. Once again, these are all things that we've been doing like way before this, but like putting it into the overdrive, that would be something for those who can to do it. That would be like a really cool thing to do during this time. Now, I say this about content creation, so how does that affect me? Well, I'll be honest, I was making, you know, I had my reaction that I uploaded. I wanted to make sure I didn't miss out on being able to, like, do that, record and upload that as a celebration in case it ever happened. I've been waiting just, like, so many different directs for it, prepared, so here we are. And then, one of the things that I wanted to do, and that I was doing, I was making, like, you know, memes, using footage from the trailer, and I wanted to keep doing that and to do more content. Unfortunately, I let myself get a little bit down and take a pause and stop making stuff. Part of it was being busy with, an upcoming, employment position that I have, and in my responsibilities for that as it's coming forward, but also, when you start to see that other people are like doing the content that you were thinking of doing, and maybe you think that you can add more to it or do it a little bit better, but still they've already got it out like right after the trailer comes out, so who's even gonna like watch it? What's the point of even making it? That kind of stuff kind of got me down a little bit, and so that's why there's been a pause in content creation, a combination of being busy and my weird like emotional barrier that sometimes holds me back from like making stuff, and then I just stop. But I'm encouraging other people to make content, even content that I want to make, because just spreading a bunch of Super Mario RPG content out there on YouTube and other sources is fantastic. It's also why I'm making this video now. I've broken through that kind of like emotional, like self-limiting barrier to realize that it doesn't matter if other people are making similar content. Not everyone watches everyone, and just because like somebody makes a video talking about what I want to talk about, maybe you want to just hear it again from somebody else. I do that all the time. So that's what I'm gonna be offering, is making my own content, not worrying that other people have done other stuff, seeing what I might even be able to do to improve on. Who knows? As for stuff for us to like look forward to, moving on from what we can do during this time to what we can look forward to fill that gap during the wait. It's not too much longer now, but it's still, you know, it's what, November 17th? There's still a little bit of a while for that. So what can we do in the meantime? Well, if you're not someone who's gonna make content to celebrate, no judgments there. One of the big things that you can do is, I'm in a number of Discords where it's essentially just a bunch of Mario RPG fans all together. Maybe I'll go ahead and link those in the description too, if possible. I think some of them you might need access permission, so I'll see what I can do about that. But if you're somebody that wants to join a Mario RPG community, and you know you're not already a part of one, or you're just not a part of one on Discord already, I do know of a couple like really good ones that, you know, if you hit me up on here in the comments, I can totally work on trying to get a hold of you on Discord to send you invites on those. They are called, we have Mario RPG Central and then Star Road. Star Road, I believe it was 2 servers that then merged into one during the operation, when Operation Starfall was founded, and that was like, Star Road was kind of a Discord of people who were on the Geno support thread and some others all kind of mixed together by the end of it. Mario RPG Central, I've only been there for a couple months, but they're like a place for all the Mario RPGs, not just Super Mario RPG. So, you know, if you're a fan of all of them, that's an excellent place to be as well. There's so much other stuff to look forward to, because first off, there's gonna be like another trailer, right? So, you know, getting your hopes up for another trailer. There have been a bunch of screenshots that have come out recently that I've been paying attention to, so looking over those and, like, you know, looking at how much things have changed while they're also staying the same, just how much better it looks. Obviously, if you are someone that views content rather than makes it, looking up art, and, you know, one of the things that I want to do is go back to what I was doing with live streams, which is I was, like, featuring people's Super Mario RPG art, usually mostly about Geno, but, you know, not entirely only him. So that's something that I want to do with my content, is that throughout the video, or maybe at the end of the video, show off people's artwork so that you can enjoy it and you can, like, you know who made it. You can find them and find more of their Super Mario RPG artwork. There's a lot of, I was gonna say that there was, you know, you can look forward to like new music that's gonna come out from, you know, from, for example, from Johnny Atma, Gametal, but you know, that's already here. So, you know, maybe I'll link that as well, just to throw it up over here somewhere. That's already out. He dropped that as I'm recording this, so make sure that you go ahead and enjoy that. He's not the only one. I've seen at least 3 or 4 music-related videos that are doing like covers, remixes, arrangements as celebration for the announcement. So that's another thing we have to look forward to. Is just like all the content that fans are gonna make. You can enjoy that during your wait. Obviously, you can go ahead and play through Super Mario RPG again. That's always a fun thing to do. Super Mallow is going, he just recently did that. Starhaven just had a randomizer stream. I don't remember what it was, but it wasn't all that long ago. And that's something that, you know, anyone else could just go and download. If your computer can handle a Super Nintendo emulator, you can go ahead and, I mean, Nintendo might not like this, but currently it is the most accessible way to play the game up until November. So, in that sense, you can either play the game if you own it traditionally or on an emulator. If you do play emulators on PC, you can enjoy the randomizer. I know that Pid01, I think is how you say it correctly. The speedrunner, she is one of many who work on the randomizer, and because of the remake, she's gotten like a real big boost of enthusiasm to work on it, so they're adding a lot more stuff to the randomizer. That's something to look forward to. Let's see, what else would be something to look forward to? Oh, speaking of playing the game, people, and I just spoke about people playing it. Watching people's Let's Plays would be great, and I think one of the best things we can do is watching Let's Plays of people who maybe are just playing it for the first time because of the announcement, or they played it relatively recently. Obviously, you can watch anyone's playthrough whenever you want, but I just think it would be like a really cool thing to, and it's something I will try to work on, is making a playlist that consists of the playthroughs of people that are playing it relatively recently that are currently totally blind playthroughs. as just a way to, like, you know, see people falling in love with the game just like we did so long ago. We can enjoy them and their new experiences with this wonderful, wonderful game that we all love. So I mentioned music before, but that's another way that I'm trying to contribute. Not that I'm necessarily great at making music or anything, because I'm not, but I do have like a massive playlist that has well over 200 videos that are all music either from the original Super Mario RPG or covers, remixes, arrangements, what have you, all in the playlist for everyone to enjoy, from both official, but also a lot of it is from fan-created content. I just recently updated it with a bunch of the music from Starhaven's channel, because I did not know about them until the remake. A little sad about that, but hey, the music that they made is pretty dope. So that's in there, and I'll link that 100% down below. So when you guys are just going out doing your daily things in life, you can just jam out to a massive playlist of Super Mario RPG music, with a lot of it being made by fellow fans of the game for you to enjoy. Let's see, what else is there? Oh yeah, once again, speaking of music and content, I remember, and I'm hoping it's still in the works, it's probably still going to take some time, Kerbifer, who you guys may know, he made Raw's Forest, he made Waltz of the Forest. It's kind of, for a lot of people who love Super Mario RPG, it's almost like our anthem, right next to the original Beware the Forest Mushrooms. And so they announced, I believe it was on Twitter, that they are going to be working on a new project, probably another new animated project, but if I remember correctly, Kerbifer said that they were actually gonna not recycle the original song like they did with the Raw's Forest reanimated video, but they're actually going to produce new music as well as like new animation and art to go with it. So that's something else to look forward to among all the different content that will be coming out that we have to look forward to. But I do think that covers just about everything that I wanted to say. I just wanted to let you guys know that both newer fans, but definitely older fans, just to like, we might be getting some jitters or like anxiety just waiting for it, and you're like, since it's such a big deal, might be feeling like the emotions of feeling like a little bit lost and like looking for what to do in your free time while waiting for this. So, you know, just wanted to give like a positive talk and some recommendations about that. One last thing that I do want to talk about before I go is, I mentioned my reaction video, and I do want to talk about that, and that is because it is now 100% officially the most viewed video on my channel. Before that, I had like, it was above 5,000 views. It was some random Mugen video I did in like 2010 or 2011 of Combuskin versus Blaziken. Just really random. It was just the content that I'd do at the time, trying to do YouTube again back in much earlier years. But it's now the most viewed thing on my channel, and I just want to sincerely thank you guys for that, because I've gotten so many awesome, like, just loving comments from fellow fans of Super Mario RPG, and it's the most traffic my channel has ever gathered, just because of my meltdown at the reveal. I also want to, you know, Rag & Knowledge deserves their fair share of credit for featuring me relatively heavy in the second compilation of reaction videos to the remake. Got a lot of traffic from them, so shout out to Rag & Knowledge. I want to make sure that credit is given where it's due. I've also had a number of people subscribe because of this video, or the reaction video, that just blows my mind. There was like a time and place where I would have really wanted to be like a big YouTuber and do all the things to become really popular, you know, make a career out of it. I'm not really in that place anymore, but still getting like the views and the comments and the subscribers. It's big to me, not for wanting to grow the channel, but it's important to me because I want to provide something to the Mario RPG community, and I felt like I never really have before, which is what's really pushing me into trying to make more videos. I felt like I just kind of like silently supported on the sidelines with like the Smash ballot and in forums and whatnot, and I felt like I kind of missed opportunities to really do something a little bit past that, past a certain boundary, to be more of an active fan, I guess, if you will. I don't really know how to better explain it than how I just did. So seeing the channel grow and that other people are going to see the content I'm going to make so we can celebrate even more, that to me is huge, and I can't thank you guys enough for that. I really do appreciate that. But yeah, that's it. I've talked on for long enough. In the future, I do want to go ahead and make some more content. Some of the things I have planned, obviously I want to make more Super Mario RPG memes. Some of them, you know, using trailer content. Some of them may not. I do want to make, I plan on doing maybe some top 10 videos, maybe talking about things that I'm excited for in the remake, but being like more narrow topic than a lot of people have been. I noticed that a lot of people are like just talking about overall what they want to see, and I would be like having individual videos talking about each like subject separately. I also want to do a deep dive of the trailer. I know that a lot of analysis trailers have been out there. There's a lot of like really good content analyzing it out there. However, I do notice that a lot of people, like, one will miss something, another will find it, or, you know, they all have missed some things that I've noticed. And one of the beautiful things about being able to wield the power of autism is that, really good at, like, overanalyzing, looking at everything, finding stuff that other people may not find, and at the very least, if I find something that everyone else has found, it'll be all in one big long video, breaking down just possibly frame by frame everything we could find. So I do want to go ahead and work on getting that out, even if, you know, everyone might have already felt like they've seen the trailer enough by now, which, I mean, I wouldn't understand that at all. I still have to watch it every day to believe it's real. And, you know, other than that, you know, maybe some other projects down the line. We'll just see how it goes. But until then, this has been Forsaken Memories 45, shorthand for Forsaken M. Once again, thank you guys for the support. I am so happy about this game. I will see you guys on the flip side. Peace. SMRPG Remake!